And I was, like I said, I was in Madison Square Garden last night with the president, and we had well over 100,000 people between those inside and those outside, and they were, fired up. It was a celebration of America. You had a lot of fun at that rally. And you know what? Thank you. And you know what Kamala Harris and her team woke up this morning and decided to compare it to? They decided to compare us to literal Nazis for gathering in Madison Square Garden and celebrating the United States of America. These are the same people, of course, who call us racist for wanting to secure the southern border. They're the same people who have no plans, no ideas, and no solutions. All they have is hatred of their fellow citizens. And on November the 5th, I don't want us to just elect Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States. I want us to reject Kamala Harris and a ridiculous name-calling over actual governance. And because of this, I actually decided, I Googled an image of our brave men and women almost 80 years ago storming the beaches at Normandy. And I thought to myself, who does Kamala Harris think that she's kidding? When I looked at the image of those brave young men, a lot of us, of course, knew some of those folks. Of course, we still have some World War II generations still with us, though it's dwindling by the day. But most of us probably knew somebody who was involved in World War II in some form or another. And I find it honestly kind of funny that Kamala Harris thinks that the men who stormed the beach at Omaha would want taxpayer-funded gender transition surgeries for illegal aliens. That's why those guys stormed the beaches at Normandy, because they wanted to open up the American southern border. That's not what they wanted at all. They wanted common sense, they wanted freedom, they wanted liberty, they wanted somebody who would protect the Constitution. How dare Kamala Harris call her fellow citizens Nazis for loving this country enough to call her a bad vice president? And that's exactly what she is. How dare Kamala Harris call her fellow citizens racist for not wanting their communities overwhelmed with fentanyl? How dare Kamala Harris call parents bad people for wanting their children to grow up in safe neighborhoods? How dare Kamala Harris call the American people bad for wanting an economy where they can afford to buy groceries and afford to put a nice roof over the heads of their children? I want us all on November the 5th, not just to make Donald J. Trump the next president, but to reject Kamala Harris and her broken politics, which is more about attacking her fellow citizens, dividing our fellow Americans, than proposing a positive agenda for how to govern. She is a disgrace. She is endangering the life of Donald J. Trump, and we're going to send her back to California where she belongs.
Speaking of Madison Square Garden, last night during the pre-program, a comedian made several racist jokes that the campaign has since distanced itself from. Another speaker called Kamala Harris the Antichrist. Another called her the devil. You've talked before about former President Trump being able to unite the country. I'm curious, as we are entering this last stretch of campaigning, this final week, is that the right tone to have started this final 8 days with?
Well, first of all, I think that we've got to focus, Alec, I appreciate the question, but I think that we as a country, and I think that includes the press, it includes the Kamala Harris campaign, and it certainly includes our campaign, the way that we unite the country is to talk about the issues the American people care the most about. And what we're doing over the next 8 days is we're focused, laser focused, on how we're going to close the border, how we're going to make American lives more affordable again, how we're going to bring down the cost of housing. That's what we should be talking. I think a lot of Americans are sick of the distractions and sick of the BS. They want our candidates to talk about how they're going to solve the people's problems. And that's what we ought to do. Now, I've heard about the joke. I haven't actually seen the joke that you mentioned, but I think that it's telling that Kamala Harris's closing message is essentially that all of Donald Trump's voters are Nazis, and you should get really pissed off about a comedian telling a joke. That is not the message of a winning campaign. And most importantly, it's not the message of a person who's fit to be the President of the United States of America. And my own view on this is, look, Again, I haven't seen the joke. Maybe it's a stupid racist joke, as you said. Maybe it's not. I haven't seen it. I'm not going to comment on the specifics of the joke. But I think that we have to stop getting so offended at every little thing in the United States of America. I'm so over it. I mean, somebody sent me a couple days ago, and they were kind of pissed off about it. Maybe it was yesterday, of this comedian George Lopez, who had made a joke at a Kamala Harris rally. And he basically, the point was, he was trying to make a joke. It was against Mexicans, and I forget the exact context. But if you wanted to look at it a particular way, you could say that was a racist joke. And this person, in fact, was encouraging me to sort of, blow this up and make this about how Kamala Harris doesn't respect Latinos. And my response was, can we all just take a chill pill and take a joke from time to time? This is ridiculous. Our country... Our country was built by frontiersmen who conquered the wilderness. We're not going to restore the greatness of American civilization if we get offended at every little thing. Let's have a sense of humor, and let's have a little fun, and let's go win in 8 days. God bless you all. Thank you.